Of course, none of us here would do that. But sin exists because humanity is selfish and we tend to look at our own self-interests. Now, this struggle with sin can be very confusing and even discouraging. Look how Paul describes it in verse 15. I do not understand my own actions, for I do not do what I want, but I do the very thing I hate. Like Paul, Christians are left scratching their heads when it comes to this internal battle. We look at our lives and wonder, why do I do this stuff? What is going inside me? I really want to do what is right. I don't want to do things I actually do not like. I hate this. I don't want to do it. And here I am doing it anyway. Why? Well, this is a normal Christian experience. That is one of perpetual struggle, constant conflict, and lifelong war with sin and temptation. However, I must remind you that our goal is not for perfection, for Jesus was the only one without sin, but rather our goal is to keep striving to do what is right. Don't be discouraged. Keep struggling. Failure is when you stop fighting or when you aren't even aware that you should fight. Having established that Christians are going to struggle with sin, Paul next addresses the source of the problem, indwelling sin. Even though we have accepted Jesus Christ and he took on our sin, there is still a battle between good and evil going on within each one of us. And at times it seems like it's almost as if there were a different person with us doing all the sin. Amen? Paul emphasizes this in verses 16 through 20. Now if I do what I do not want, I agree that the law is good. But in fact it is no longer I that do it, but sin that dwells within me. For I know that nothing good dwells within me, that is, in my flesh. I can will what is right, but I cannot do it. For I do not do the good I want, but the evil I do not want is what I do. Now if I do what I do not want, it is no longer I that do it, but sin that dwells in me. Well, that's a tongue twister. Here Paul delineates the frustration that each of us must feel. We know the law, but still can't keep it. And if the power of sin within us keeps sabotaging our best intentions, then we don't do the good that we want to do. And we keep doing the evil things that we don't. If I know that this sin person inside me makes me do these evil things I despise, then why can't I will myself to do good? But when I try to do good, I don't. I try not to do wrong, I do it anyway. Yes, God's law is spiritual, but obviously my flesh is not. A different way to describe this is to compare it to the following. Think of it like a war in which an army has defeated the old government, somewhat like the invasion of Iraq. But total victory and peace have eluded us because of an elected government that is oppressing part of its population and an ongoing insurrection by terrorists, all of which is amid the chaos that has remained because of the original war. This is the same thing as what Paul is talking about. The war has been won by Jesus, but there is an ongoing struggle for practical control. There is a battle within each one of us, and this struggle with sin is more complicated than just a result of our actions. It comes from a combination of our actions, our wants, our desires, and our deepest thoughts, which play off one against another. It is the effect of temptation on our hearts and on our minds. In verse 21, Paul seems to indicate that sin is like an unwritten law, that when he wants to do right, evil is always lurking. It seems to be a fact of life that when we want to do what is right, we inevitably do what is wrong. But Paul stresses that he loves God's law with all his heart, even when he's doing wrong, and then contrasts the competing laws in his soul, the spiritual versus the unspiritual. In verse 22, for I delight in the law of God in my inmost self. And 23, but I see in my members another law at war with the law of my mind, making me captive to the law of sin that dwells in my members. On the one hand, he delights in the law of God, but on the other hand, the other law, sin, which is at work within him, is at war with his mind, makes him captive. So when at his soul, he sees action, thoughts, and desires which struggle between these two laws. His wants lead to good or bad thoughts, which lead to good or bad actions. So the battle is not simply for right behaviors, the battle is for right actions, which come from right thoughts, which spring from right desires. Evil targets what we want, and then provides temptation for the desires that we want. And if we never address our thoughts or wants, then our actions will never be changed.